Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, the 3 Topics Gamer, and I have another random sort of top list video to share with you guys today. As you can share from the title, this time I'll be sharing with you my personal top 5 favorite collector edition items that I have. Now, as a gamer, I have collected a lot. I mean, a lot of collector editions over the last number of years. And I believe for those of you that have actually seen my tour video, which I'll be sure to leave a link to that video in the description down below, you've probably seen a good amount of them. But I thought it would be nice just as a random video just to go over the top 5 of my personal favorite that I really enjoy to either carry it with me or like to display the most and are most proud of. Some of these are actually kind of expensive and some of these are really, really rare. So before I get into my top 5 favorite collector edition items from video games, if you happen to enjoy this video, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe this video to help grow and hopefully improve the performance of the channel. Now, these aren't in any particular order. These are just the ones that I like to display and really like the most. So starting off with number one, I like to keep here by my desk is basically a Jinns Mask from Ghost of Tsushima. I wasn't sure if this was actually removable when I first saw this, but it turned out that it was. And this thing actually, kind of fits on me actually pretty well. Ghost of Tsushima was definitely one of the best new franchises that came out during the last gen set of PlayStation systems, and I absolutely do plan on getting the director's cut, which comes out later this month. I've actually seen a few other people actually modify theirs so that they could actually wear them, and that's definitely something that I do plan to do. So, I don't know, maybe one day I'll come up with some crazy cosplay that I could pull off using, incorporating this mask, because it is a very, very well detailed mask. I know that there's some places you can actually buy kind of different versions of it, but I've always preferred this one with the red interior. So, yeah, and it just looks really great on my desk. I mean, just love it. Anything PlayStation Collector's Edition wise is definitely going to get some extra points in my book. So that would be probably the first main Collector's Edition items that I really enjoy. The next has to go to probably my favorite figure. Now, as you can, right back there, I actually have a giant glass display with lights inside that I like to keep a lot of my figures and statues, but without question, my favorite one out of all of them has to go to my Nathan Drake figure from Uncharted 4. Now, for those who've been watching my channel long enough, I actually did have a Scorpion figure from Mortal Kombat 10, but sadly that one broke, and when I was living at my last apartment, and this ended up taking the number 1 spot for me. Now, this one is very, very well detailed. I liked how, unlike the other one, it actually has a much more stable stand as opposed to the Scorpion statue, which only had Scorpion sitting on 1 foot. And honestly, it's just very well detailed. Just Nathan Drake getting ready to go into some action. However, I will say this. The only thing I don't like about the statue, I'm not sure if it's just me, but it always kind of seems to me that Nathan Drake is kind of at a strange angle. Like he's tilting. And I kind of wish that his body was standing more upward. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just how they designed the statue itself, but that's just something I always found strange about this particular figure. And I do believe this is actually one of the taller ones I have. I think this is definitely 12 or 14 inches tall, which is something. And it's actually pretty expensive if you try to find one online, just the statue itself. So I'm glad I was able to get this one at release. So. And it definitely takes the number 1 spot in my case, which would be on the top shelf in the middle, right below the light. So that's why I really like this figure out of all of them. So that's why this is technically my favorite figure out of the collector's editions figures that I do own. Next on my list is going to have to go to this nice little puppy, and this is the Sling Pack from Infamous 2. Now, the reason I really like this one so much, I actually have 2, and I'm probably thinking about getting a 3rd one of these, is this is something I actually take with me almost everywhere I go when I go out, or if I go on a trip, or I go to some convention, or something. I even take this with me every day when I go to work. It's actually a pretty good sized sling, carries a lot of stuff, it's got several pockets, and I just love the amount of detail. And one thing that I typically end up experiencing when I wear this is I've had several people, either when I go to conventions or when I'm just trying to be out or even at work, where they'll ask me where was this from, or they kind of recognize the Sly Cooper symbol, which is from Sucker Punch. So yeah, And I think one of these days, if I do decide to get a third one, I'm definitely going to modify a third one so it'll actually be able to hold the custom amp that I actually built alongside with my dad, which I'm happy with. But yeah, I think this will definitely be very good for a future possible Cole McGrath cosplay or custom Cole McGrath cosplay. That's definitely something I want to try out in the new future. So yeah, just its overall look is just very very impressive, and I think you can still buy plenty of these just about anywhere online. So if you're interested, that that's something you might want to own if you're a fan of Infamous, which I am. And going into the next item is one that has some connection to in terms of electricity. Now this one I really really like, but I would say ever since I moved here, I actually discovered it could do a bunch of other things that made it even cooler. And this is the lamp from Metal Gear Rising, and as you can see, it's basically just has a lamp with Raiden and sword in it, and it has two different functions. If you just press one switch here, it'll turn on the lamp. But heck, if you flip the other switch, it'll actually have an electric curtain. It's a little tough to see. Hopefully you guys can tell. And if you just, and where you touch. Now, one thing I've actually noticed about this lamp is that the electric currents seem to emit so far out that it can actually affect other like electronics. Like for my Titanfall helmet, it could actually remotely turn on the flashlight, and where I have this place is actually so close to one of my lightsabers is actually can affect the electronics in that too. So it can actually cause it to lock on its light, which for something that's so old, I'm surprised it works still so as effectively as it was when I first got it, and that can affect so many other electronics around it. So that makes it a pretty probably the coolest lamp that I have, even though I have like another custom PlayStation lamp over here. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite lamp that I own in the room, and I always enjoy showing this one off. So that's why this is definitely up there. And now we go into the last item that I have. Is probably the most expensive collector's edition item that I own to date. And that has to go to my always cool Titanfall Vanguard pilot helmet. Now, this is easily a cosplayer's dream. I think anyone that's a fan of Titanfall would have loved to have gotten their hands on one of these. These were expensive at launch. I was lucky to get one at the standard. I had like a sales price when at launch, but like these were pretty expensive because some people like to cosplay as a Titanfall pilot, and this thing just has so many accessories. I mean, it has like several lights. Number one, it easily fits on my head pretty well. It's got multiple lights. It's got an inside light, and then it's got even a voice thing for BT responses. So like.
Understood. I have added hot streak to my vocabulary. I have had numerous hot streaks within the past 38 standard hours. Pilot, I advise against turning yourself over to the IMC. Voice pattern analysis indicates they are lying.
I think there's like 10 different responses, and this helmet is just so well detailed. This is easily probably, I would even consider it to be one of the coolest helmets that has come out for a collector's edition ever, even though I know that they did do like a helmet release for one of the Fallout games as well as doing a helmet release for Doom. But if you ask me, this is by far the coolest out of all the helmets that they've released to date, in my opinion. So that's why this is easily definitely up there, but probably being a top 3 favorite collector's edition item that I love displaying in my room. So there you go. So that about does it for my top 5 favorite collector's edition items that I own. Now, if you do happen to have any collector's edition items that you enjoy, I would love to know what is it and where do you display it, or just what do you like about it. Make sure you share that with me and everyone else in the comments down below. And like always, I want to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.